iPhone 13 Pro was the clear choice for me out of Apple's current iPhone lineup because of its 120Hz refresh rate screen and better camera system. But was that upgrade really worth it after 6 months? Or should I have just gone for the iPhone 13? And now that it's been 6 months, should you just skip this phone and wait for the iPhone 14 Pro? I'm going to answer all of those questions and more, and first, let's start off by talking about the 120Hz display, or what Apple calls their ProMotion display technology. This makes the iPhone's animations, scrolling, and basically anything you do on the phone feel much faster. To me, it's actually an upgrade that makes a difference every time I use my phone. And after 6 months, this feature alone to me is worth it to get the iPhone 13 Pro over the 13. Now, the other reason I went with the 13 Pro over the 13 is the new camera system, which includes a telephoto lens that's also capable of producing macro shots. I like taking a lot of photos with my smartphones, and the iPhone's photo quality is of course great, but having the flexibility to be able to zoom in 3x without losing resolution, that's a feature I use way more than the ultra-wide camera because in general, I think there are more situations where a telephoto lens is appropriate than an ultra-wide lens. So those are the two things I think make the iPhone 13 Pro worth it over the 13, even when you consider the $200 price difference between the two phones. Now, if you disagree with that take, or you agree, let me know down in the comments. Sticking with camera quality for a second, if you're looking at getting a 13 Pro versus something like the Pixel 6 Pro or the S22 Ultra, in general, the iPhone 13 Pro has taken great photos for me. Overall, I think there's just becoming less and less of a difference between the main phone makers in terms of camera quality these days. Though I do find I still prefer the look of photos taken from my Pixel 6 Pro about half the time compared to photos taken with my iPhone. And this is even with me using photographic styles that try to mimic the cooler, increased contrast look of the Pixel's camera system. Photographic styles are a new feature for iPhones that allow you to change the overall look of the photos your iPhone takes, and I think this feature works pretty well. It allows me to create a truly unique look to my photos that when you look at them, they don't always immediately look like they were taken on an iPhone. And this to me is a good thing since I think the iPhone's default style is a bit too punchy with its highlights. And if you want to see our upcoming review of the Pixel 6 Pro, or you want to see more reviews on Apple products, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now, there is one more difference between the iPhone 13 Pro and the 13 that I haven't mentioned yet, and that's the LiDar sensor. Now, I don't think this is a feature most people would use to justify upgrading to the 13 Pro, but it is a hardware feature that I have found some surprising uses for over the past 6 months. Over the holidays, I wanted to share a gingerbread house that I had made with extended family who weren't physically present to be able to view it, and a photo just wasn't going to do it justice. A gingerbread house, it's a three-dimensional object, and if I just took a bunch of photos of each of the sides, it's just not the same as viewing it there live. So I downloaded this free app called Scaniverse that utilizes the LiDAR sensor, and I was able to make a 3D scan of my gingerbread house like 10 minutes later. And then it was very easy to send that 3D file to my other family members through iMessage so they could see the entire thing in augmented reality, otherwise known as AR. And they thought it was pretty cool that they could virtually just place my gingerbread house on their kitchen table. The LiDAR sensor also makes taking measurements and placing digital furniture and objects from certain apps and websites into your space a much smoother experience. Because the LiDAR sensor helps improve the accuracy of digital object placement, and the phone can remember exactly where it drew the object more accurately. And because Apple supports AR across iOS, I found that a lot of websites are actually supporting this feature now. Now, the LiDAR sensor, again, it's not going to be a feature that everybody finds a use for, but I have been surprised at how many times I've actually used it over the past 6 months, considering I didn't expect to use it at all. So those are all of the features that help differentiate the iPhone 13 Pro from the regular 13. Now, there is one feature I haven't mentioned yet that's probably the best feature of the iPhone 13 Pro, and that's battery life. The battery life on the iPhone 13 Pro is phenomenal. I rarely ever see this phone go near 25% battery by the time I'm ready to put it on its charger at night. For my light to moderate phone use, I'll end the day between 50 to 40% battery left. And it's by far been the best battery life I've experienced on any phone in recent memory, and a somewhat significant upgrade from the iPhone 12 I was using before I got the 13 Pro. Now, another thing I've really liked about using the iPhone 13 Pro over the past 6 months is iOS 15 and the new software features it brought to the iPhone experience. The first one being focus modes. In iOS 15, you can create multiple focus modes which will mute notifications and distracting apps so you're not disturbed while you're trying to work, drive, etc. And the killer feature here is when I enable a focus mode or schedule one, it'll sync across all of my other Apple devices like my iPad and my Mac. Related to focus modes, screen time is another feature I've recently used a lot to help me lessen the amount of distracting app notifications and time I was spending on social media apps. Apple gives you a ton of data to work with to help you lessen the amount of distractions from your iPhone so you can focus on more important things. Another new software feature that's been really useful is called Hide My Email. And what Apple will do here is it will create a random iCloud email address like this one that you can send emails to. And then what Apple will do is anytime an email is sent to an address like this one, it'll forward that email onto your actual email address. This way, when you're signing up for something, you're not actually giving a company your actual email address. But what's been brilliant about this feature on iOS is when you get a box to input your email address, you'll see a drop-down appear automatically with this feature, making it so simple to use. Now, to use Hide My Email, you'll need to have something called iCloud Plus, which is what Apple calls their expanded iCloud storage program. The lowest tier costs $299 per month here in the US for 250 gigs of storage, and it comes with other features like Private Relay. A couple of other features that have been useful on the 13 Pro are the ability to mute text message notifications from unknown numbers. You can use Face ID with a mask on, and with iOS 15 you can copy written text like a recipe and paste it as digital text into your notes. Though the accuracy of this feature can vary wildly, and I still find that Google Lens is a more accurate product to use in this type of scenario. So that's a bit about the new software features that I've enjoyed using on this iPhone. Now, with the iPhone 13 Pro, you of course get the classic iPhone hardware features like Face ID, which is fantastic, and the Face ID camera enclosure is a bit smaller on the iPhone 13 Pro compared to the 13. And Apple's flat screen design on this year's iPhones are a classic take on the iPhone 4 and 4S era and make it really easy to put on a screen protector, which I appreciate. Now, the last main benefit I found with using this iPhone, and it's one you've probably heard me mention before if you're a subscriber to the channel, and if you're not, perfect time to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. The last major benefit is the Apple ecosystem. Now, the Apple ecosystem, this is a term that refers to all of the software features that you can use between Apple products. And the iPhone, I like to think of the iPhone like a key into the Apple ecosystem, especially when we're talking about phone calls and messages. You can also have all of your text messages on your iPad, Mac, and Apple Watch, and even send text messages from a HomePod Mini.
Okay, it's sent.
Your iPhone will also enable spatial audio and automatic headphone switching between your other devices. It has Universal Clipboard, which makes it easy to copy text from your phone and paste it on a Mac or iPad. Continuity, where you can open up a web page in Safari on your Mac, for example, from right where you left off on your iPhone. The iPhone 13 Pro also has an ultra-wideband chip that makes it easy to tap a HomePod Mini to hand off audio to, or precisely find an AirTag located nearby. Next up, let's talk downsides. Now, the only downside I've found using the iPhone 13 Pro over the past 6 months has been Apple's insistence on downloading every application for this device through their own app store. This limits the kind of apps you can download and overall limits your choice as a consumer for what you can do with your own device. Unlike with one of Apple's other product lines, the Mac, which doesn't have this limitation. Other than that, I haven't found any other downsides with the iPhone 13 Pro. It's been a solid device, and for $200 more, to me, it is worth the upgrade over the 13. Now, once you get 6 months into a phone's life cycle, this question always comes up. Should you wait for the new iPhones coming out around September or just get this one now? It's a valid question, and in general, I don't think going for the 13 Pro now is a bad decision. Based on the latest rumors for the iPhone 14 Pro from sites like Forbes and figures like Mark Gurman and John Prosser, it seems like the upcoming 14 Pro will ditch the Face ID notch and have some other minor aesthetic changes, but nothing groundbreaking that would really change your day-to-day use of the device, like I'd argue better battery life and the 120Hz screen gets you in the 13 Pro. Now, Apple will likely have a new chip in the iPhone 14 Pro, and that may allow them to get even better battery life with that phone compared to the 13 Pro, so that may be something to watch. The iPhone 13 Pro starts at $999 US for the 128 gig model and can be spec'd out all the way to 1 terabyte for $1499. And it comes in the new Alpine green color, silver, gold, graphite, and the Sierra blue color, which is the color I have. If you're interested in purchasing an iPhone 13 Pro, or you just want to check out some links to some great iPhone accessories, make sure you check out the purchase links here in this video and in the description below. If you have any thoughts on the iPhone 13 Pro, what you love about using it, if it's worth the upgrade over the 13 in your mind, and whether or not people should wait for the 14 Pro, leave a comment below. Now, if you're looking for what to watch next, check out some of our other long-term Apple reviews, like our reviews of the AirPods Max, HomePod Mini, iPad Mini, and make sure you're subscribed to see upcoming Apple long-term reviews, like our review of the Mac Studio and Studio Display. For 6 months later, I'm Josh Tedder. Thanks for watching.